Yeah, I can do it. I can show you both. So there's no sky right now, and then I'm gonna go ahead and do, um, let's put it here. So a solid color, and then you can grab some sort of blue that you want. It doesn't even have to be like perfect because we're gonna adjust this. So now I want to mask it into the sky. So I have here, this layer is just line work. So I'm gonna grab that here. I'm just gonna mask it to this. So now my mask is cropping it just to the sky. And then here what I do, so you can do this two ways. For like a daytime view, your horizon line is almost like white. If you use like white as like the base color and then you fade it up, it will look like a daytime view. The difference between that and a nighttime one, so if I do this and make this one just white, it will make sense. So here you have just a white sky, here it's just blue, and if I use a gradient and you set to this one, so it goes from your foreground color to transparent, and then 20% opacity, and now I'm going to use black, so you're just going to slowly fade this up, and this will start to make it feel like it's actually like a sky. And we do this, and then if you wanted more attention here towards the building, we can pull this that way. We can pull a little bit back this way, you can come back up, and so see, I'm just slowly fading it up, right? And then now I have the color set up the way I like it. So let's say I think this looks really good, but if you only just use these two colors, you'll always get a nice smooth gradient. If you want clouds, you need to add those in somehow. So here I've already got it in there, but I'm not going to use this, so I'm going to show you just from scratch. So if I go to a new one, I just search like high res sky. So images, let's say I like these ones. I always end up just looking at all the skies. So, well, those are pretty small. Let's grab that one, looks good. So here, if I like this sky, if you want to get really dramatic, then you can use that. I typically don't like my sky to be like too distracting. Like I just want the building to be what people look at. So when you're looking for a sky, ignore the color because we're going to get rid of all the color, and just look for something that's pretty like simple. Nothing that has like crazy clouds like that or like something like that. That's too much. But you're looking for something just kind of basic that you can use. This one would work pretty nice. So I'm going to right click, copy it, and I'm just going to paste it. And then here it doesn't really matter like the scale or anything. So I'm going to drag this and just stretch this out. I'm going to put it up in the sky. So I have some stuff there. And then if you turn it on and off, you can see I just want it to match here. So let's pull this down behind the building. So I'm going to grab this mask and give that to there. So now it's not in front of my building. Whoa, what's going on? Oh, I turned it off. That's why. So see, it's in front of the building, and now I put it behind it. So I don't need any of this color. So what I do is you can go image, adjustments, and then desaturate, or you can use hue and saturation, which is here, and just kill the saturation. So that's basically what you want to do. The shortcut is Control U. Oh, let me move this guy up here so that you can actually see. So Control U is a shortcut to get to there. You get rid of all the color, and then you change the blend mode to soft light. Or you can try overlay. I mean, you can play around with the different ones. And then here, I'm going to use the levels. So I'm going to jump to it by just going to Control L and then give it a lot of contrast. And what this does, now I can unlink the two, the mask and this. And then if I move this around, I can adjust the sky exactly the way I like it. What I like to do with my sky when I do this technique is, see here how it goes from like the tree line, it goes up to this like white, and it slowly fades up. You can tell it's like a smooth gradient. If you can get your clouds and you get them in the right spot, rather than being a smooth gradient, the blue will go into like a cloud shape and then it disappears. So it gives you kind of that more like watercolor feel where like the sky is bounded by like the shape of a cloud rather than like a perfectly smooth gradient. So if you notice here, that gets rid of that little line and now it looks like clouds. So your eye will naturally fill in the fact that that's the sky and then it's clouds here and it's no longer like fake looking. And then, so let's say this is a good sky for like daytime. So then I'm going to make a group of these, call it daytime sky. And then we can turn that on and off. So I'm going to copy this. I just hit Control J to copy that group. And let's call this nighttime sky. So this one can be blue. So I'm going to turn that off so I can go back to it always. The only difference when you do a night sky is, like, look out now. Well, you guys can't really see it. I can see it over there. The horizon line, rather than being pure white like we did before, you use like a slight blue tint, kind of like a little bit purplish. So you do this along the horizon, and remember we're looking down here. So you can use like a color like this. You can kind of go over into like the purples a little bit. And then the top color, you can now make this like a darker blue or more like a purple sky. And you can play with this to be like whatever color you like. But this is really like a simple way to get it to feel more like nighttime. And obviously, like, the more you adjust it, the more you can get that feel. So if you wanted it to feel almost like sunset-y, like kind of like turning orange or something like that.
That's the color layer you're messing with, right?
Yep. So these are these two colors. And then, so the clouds, I left them exactly where they were. And then, so if I bring this one back, so there's daytime, and you can say this is like a nighttime, right? So during the day and then at night you could have a sky like that, and then it's a matter of just throwing on top like your adjustment layers that you want to use to kind of help tint this to be whatever color you want. So here I need to move this up. And then here I'm just going to hide away this effect where I want it to kind of feel more like brighter. I mean, this is like the most basic way to do a night render from a day render that you could hope for. But then that starts to help give you that feel. And then if you want it to feel more like sunset or something like that, you can play around more with like these kind of effects, like really crank these more and like bring yourself something more like that. You can tint the sky different colors. So that gives you a lot of flexibility. And then once you have all those like adjustments on, you can always go back to these two and like change them. I've done a bunch of these where we do like daytime renders and then nighttime renders of the same one, and that's all I change for the sky, and it like makes the whole thing. Where it really helps is like if you start giving it like more effects that like you would get if it was like nighttime. So one that I like to do a lot is just copy the whole rendering and then like flip it vertically and start using it kind of to get some reflections on stuff. and then you can set that to like, let's see. This is one of those things that looks weird, and then out of nowhere it just like pops in. So let's say you want it to look like it was kind of wet there. So you can start doing little effects like that, and it's all those little things that you start adding that start to make it like you're telling the story that this is nighttime now and it's being lit up from one side versus the other side, and all those little things. So, but if you turn those off, well, this guy was like that, and then we swap the sky. See, makes a big difference.